Hey, Ben here from If Nutrition, and in today's video I'm talking all about leucine. Most people know that they need to hit the right amount of protein a day to get the maximum amount of protein synthesis. But what people don't often realise is they also want to hit their leucine threshold as well to really maximise the amount of protein synthesis possible. Proteins are known as the building blocks of the body, but ultimately it's the amino acids that make up the proteins. Now, to be considered a protein, it needs to include all 9 of the essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are basically amino acids that we have to consume through our diet. Our body can't just synthesize them. So with non-essential amino acids, our body can basically create them if they're not available in our diet. It's pretty clever like that, but the essential amino acids have to be consumed through diet and taken into the body, hence essential. And this is where not all proteins are as optimal, because different protein sources contain a different mixture of the different essential amino acids. So they don't necessarily all need to be high in leucine. Therefore, some proteins are higher in leucine and some are lower. But don't worry, if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a load of different foods that are high in leucine that you can start adding into your diet. Also, if you're new, consider subscribing for more videos just like this, and let's get back onto the rest of the video. This is where not all protein is created equal, because they all contain a different mixture of the essential amino acids, leucine being one of them. So if you want to get a list of foods that are high in leucine, you can either Google it. Alternatively, stay tuned to the end of the video and I will be sharing with you a few quick food grabs that are high in leucine. Now, like I've said, leucine is one of the 9 essential amino acids. It's also one of the 3 branch chain amino acids, which basically means they have a branch chain. But when we look at amino acids, when we talk about protein, especially in muscle synthesis, we are normally talking about the branch chain amino acids, of which leucine is one of them. It is normally the dominant one, and I'm going to explain exactly why that is. Now, leucine isn't just important from a protein synthesis point of view. It also contributes to a lot of metabolic functions. These include the regulation of blood sugar levels, growth and repair of muscle tissue, growth and repair of bone tissue, growth hormone production, and even wound healing. But the one we're focusing on is muscle building through mTOR. Now, think of mTOR as the amino acid sensor of the cell, and mTOR is really sensitive to leucine concentrations in the body. Now, as leucine activates mTOR pathways, it actually signals to mTOR that there's enough dietary protein within the body to begin the synthesis of new skeletal muscle. And this is ultimately what we want, but it also works the other way as well. If there's not enough leucine present, then mTOR signals that there's not enough dietary protein within the body to then begin the synthesis of new skeletal muscle. And obviously that's what we don't want. So this then just shows the importance of making sure that we are hitting that leucine threshold so that we're continually signaling to the body that there's enough dietary protein to build the amount of skeletal muscle that it wants to build. Basically, if we don't hit that leucine content, then we're not going to send those signals and we're not going to build any new skeletal muscle. Now, just a quick note on branch chain amino acids, BCAAs, because a lot of you might be supplementing with them. Now, BCAAs, yes, they contain leucine within them. However, as long as you're getting enough leucine within your diet, then you don't really need them. There's no real magical powers they're going to have in your training, apart from to make sure that you've got enough BCAAs within your body. Now, like I said, if you're consuming enough for your diet, you're hitting your protein targets and your leucine threshold, then you don't really need the BCAAs. Now, the other branch chain amino acids will also help signal to mTOR. However, leucine is the dominant one here. It is the more important one that we want to focus on. That's why, especially when you look at your supplements and you look at the side, you will normally see the ratios of leucine to the other BCAAs. You will normally find it at 2:1:1 or 3:1:1. You don't normally find them at 1:1:1 because leucine is the more important one, the one that is going to do the work for you. Therefore, most people focus on making sure there is more leucine content in their BCAAs. So while we're on BCAAs, I'd love to know, do you currently supplement with them? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. Also, while we're talking about protein and leucine, this is normally why whey protein wins out most of the time. Because when it comes to the bioavailability of it, it's around about 98% and the digestibility is around 99%. So for most people, whey protein offers good protein. It's cheap protein as well for the producers of it, but also you've got a high leucine content and it's not going to cause many issues with people. However, if you are vegan or you just don't want whey protein, you can use vegan proteins. However, just have a look at the leucine content and make sure that the leucine content is high enough. What a lot of producers will do is add leucine into the protein just to make sure that the numbers are right. But when you're looking at it, you want to make sure you are actually looking at the leucine content as well as the protein content. Now, there's been lots of studies done on maximum muscle gain, what kind of feedings you should be looking at, what kind of protein numbers you should be looking at, what kind of leucine numbers you should be looking at. So I want to kind of give you a rough idea of the kind of number of servings that you want to try and be getting, the amount of protein and also the amount of leucine. So when it comes to the amount of feedings, generally 4 to 6 feedings a day. Now these don't have to be meals, you can also be using shakes as well, but it's to basically get the amount of protein in and absorbed and also the amount of leucine as well. You want to be aiming from around 0.3 to 0.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per serving. Also, you're going to want about 2.5 to 3.5 grams of leucine. This should ensure that you're hitting your protein target and you're also hitting that all-important leucine threshold. So I hope that whistle-stop tour of leucine has shown you why it is not just a case of getting the right amount of protein, but also trying to get the right amount of leucine as well to ensure that you are maximising your gains and getting the most amount of protein synthesis possible. So some examples of foods that are high in leucine. You've got your meat, so you've got things like your beef, your chicken, pork, you've got fish, so tuna fish is really good for this. Cheeses, things like ricotta and cottage cheese. Also things like canned beans are really good for this. Oats are really good for this. Even things like tofu have got a good amount of leucine in. You normally find that with the the meats and dairy products, you're getting more leucine in there. So if you are vegetarian or vegan, it is more important to be paying attention to the leucine content. It might mean that to make your life easier, you need to look at supplementing. Just to make sure that you're kind of hitting those leucine thresholds as well. I'd love to know, like I say, if you are supplementing with BCAAs at the moment, so make sure you let me know in the comments below. If you're new here, definitely make sure you subscribe for more nutritional tips and tricks just like this one, and I'll see you in the next video.